What's up, people? I am back for another video. Today, the plan is I have not seen Evil Dead Rise yet. I was supposed to see it yesterday. A friend got sick last second, so I will probably try to see it today or tomorrow at least. If not, I'll probably just. I should at least see it by tomorrow, at least if I don't see it today. But I'm gonna do the Mel Gibson video maybe later today or later tomorrow, maybe one of the two. But today we were talking about the last Hills Have Eyes movie, Hills Have Eyes 2, which is supposed to be a sequel to the 2006 movie, and this was a pile of shit. I remember being really kind of interested watching it the first one. I really enjoyed that remake, and then it's like, that's what you give us? There was some good gore, but honestly, there's some of it where it just felt like it was edgy for edgy's sake at times. Like, I get Hills Have Eyes, there's rape, there's all that. Like, even the original had that shit. But they did it in a way where it didn't feel like they just did it to be edgy. This one did. It just felt like, we're just gonna be fucking gross and do nasty shit just to be edgy. And it doesn't feel earned a lot of the time. And I love the military, but I just don't think the military work for movies like this. Like, I look at Hills Have Eyes as like a slasher, and I just don't, because it takes me out of it when you have the military there with all their weaponry. I'm like, okay, why not? They should just annihilate all of them. You know what I mean? Like, these are just, like, I get it, they're mutants, so I guess maybe they thought the military could work, but it takes me out of it. Like, military, you kind of should only use for, like, creatures or zombies, stuff like that, like, where it's somewhat supernatural. These are just a bunch of random, crazy mutant fucks, and I just don't, I don't know. It's hard for me to really believe that they can incapacitate the military, but they did it in the movie. So the premise is the military are supposed to exterminate the rest of the mines. A group led by Sarge. I was not paying attention to the names, so I'm just gonna say blonde chick, other chick who ends up getting captured. Like, I'll just do that because I'm gonna be honest, a lot of the characters are just not memorable. They're just there. There were some decent kills. If I had to give one positive, I could try to force it. Like, there was some decent kills at times, but I don't know. I didn't like the mutant. I didn't really like the mutants in this. I feel like they were almost caricatures, not like in the first one. They were scary. Even in the original one, I had problems with it, but they were scary in that too. In this, it's like a caricature. Papa Jupiter felt like a fucking caricature in this. It was so over the top how they were acting, and it sucks because they had a cave setting which could have actually worked, because that aspect of it could work. I like caves are such a creepy, or mine or something like that, where it's like, it's a creepy setting, so you could make it work, but the movie didn't do it. I didn't even really feel like they tried to do legit horror. They just did shock shit. Let's just show you like a bunch of bodies. Like, there's a scene where they walk in and you see like just like a bunch of disemboweled, like, bodies just ripped apart basically. And it's like, I would have rather at least the remake. I'm just gonna talk just with the remake. At least that one, like, they built to it. Yeah, I'm not saying the remake didn't have its shock moments, but I almost feel like at least in that movie they feel earned. This one, it doesn't. It was just shock for shock's sake. And when you do that, at least if you're gonna do that, at least try to be almost like a comedy and you lean into it. When you're trying to do that but then try to still be a serious movie, I can't. Like, none of the characters you really care about, they're just there to die. The movie is a big waste of time. I think it should have just been another group. Honestly, I know, like, we kind of make fun of horror sometimes for just doing a retread of this. A lot of times in their sequel, it's just basically the first movie again. But maybe you should have did that this time around. But just different. You could still do it differently enough, but just did a different group of people, because that's what makes it scary. Because it's hard for me to believe that these mutant fucks can take out the military. It just is. I don't care how you did it, even though the movie tried to show they can do it. It just doesn't work for me. I'll admit, I was just kind of tuned out. And another thing, the movie's kind of boring. Like, I didn't remember it being boring, but watching, like, wow. Like, first 30, 40 minutes, nothing fucking happens. You don't care for the dialogue or anything. There's nothing to like really get into. There's some okay imagery at times, but that's about it. It's such a letdown just because how good the first remake was, and this is what you give us. And the fucked up thing is they try to tease a third one because in the end, after they killed, I think it's Papa Jupiter, you see like a mutant hand watching one of the footage that you see earlier, or surveillance tape. So basically, it's supposed to show, oh, there's another one out there. So they were teasing a third movie that never happened. Thank God. Such a letdown. That's really all I can say about Hills Have Eyes 2. It's just, and also I think it somewhat had the cut problem too, like Taken 3 did. There was too many jump cuts at times. I think it's even worse when horror movies do it. Jump cuts I can to an extent accept in action movies sometimes, not in horror. It makes no sense. Horror, you want to get the whole shot. Why would I want to see a bunch of cuts? It's distracting. Like, yeah, this movie wasn't good. I definitely don't recommend it. I almost only say watch the original. If you have, like, I mean, I have problems with the original Hills Have Eyes, but I do still think it is worthy of watching it, and then watch the remake. Maybe 2, if you feel like it, or part 2, the sequel to the original. But really, I would only really watch the original, and mainly I'd almost say only watch the remake, and then the original. That's about the only, and then maybe to the second one, to the original. But I'd almost say really just the first one, the first remake, and then the original. You don't, it's sad that, don't watch this one. There's nothing in it. Yeah, it was edgy for edgy's sake, and that's probably what I'm going to title it. Edgy for edgy's sake. So, whenever I see Evil Dead, hopefully it'll be tonight. If I do it tonight, then definitely I'll probably review it tomorrow night. That's the plan. I want to review it tomorrow night. So that's so far the plan. And then Monday, I'm not going to go into what I got into the week, but I'll at least say into Monday what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do it on Monday. List my favorite films from 1982. So that's the next year. So other than that, let's get started. So the movie starts, we're introduced. We see them basically forcing a woman to breed. So that's how the mutants they kidnap women and basically force them to breed. They can't breed anymore, so I think Papa Jupiter, one of the Jupiters, kills her. Then the military comes. This is where we meet our military team. The dialogue is horrible. Very like mid 2000s, but in a negative. Like, I also just felt like some of the actors they got. I don't buy them being in the military. I just don't believe you can get. It's acting, but you gotta still at least look like I could believe you being in the military. I'm gonna be honest, none of them did. Yeah, you just don't care. Like, and this movie just kind of just drags. A couple scientists in the surveillance room, I think, get killed by the mutants, whatever. And Stabber, I think, is the name of the newer one that's introduced, and he kills the guy, and then he ends up getting killed. Something happens, the team ends up getting locked in the cave/mine. Sorry if I'll be honest, guys. I was not uber. That's why, like, girl ends up getting captured. Not the blonde one. The other chick. She ends up getting captured. They end up accidentally killing one of their own, trying to in a scuffle with the mutants. Which they really try to make that scene sad. Like, you're supposed to care, but it's like you don't care about any of these guys, so you're not invested. So when you do that shit, don't try to force me to care. Like, oh, one of them died. You're supposed to be sad and stuff. It's just, no, didn't work. Um, really, the Jupiters were a joke. I felt like in this too. They weren't as scary. They were over the top. I don't know if it was the way the actors were playing them too. It's just, at least in the original, like in the I'm when I mean original, I'm talking about the first. I'll just say the first remake. They were like crazy, but it was a believable crazy. Where it was like this, it's just over the top. Like they're just like, it's almost like ham, but it shouldn't be ham. This is supposed to be like a serious movie. And you're trying to ham it up, and like I said, it's just gross for gross sake. I get it, like the Jupiter's rape that was in the other movies, but the way they did it in this, it just was not like I said, it was edgy for edgy sake. Even some of the kills, I just didn't. They didn't get me. At least there were some okay ones, like on a visual level, that looked fine. But I just think the movie, it just dragged like the first 40 minutes. That's why I kind of skipped some of it, because I'm like, there's like a good 30-40 minutes where just nothing fucking happens. Like they want you to get to know this team, and I also don't really buy that the military group don't feel like they, at least in a lot, like Predator, for example, you feel like that team have worked together. All those actors managed to make it seem like they worked together in the past, and it's believable. It's not with these guys. It's not like I don't believe any of them as a team. I just don't. It feels so forced. So a couple of them get eliminated. They're locked in the cave and have to try to get out. Blonde girl decides to go back for I think Missy was the one. Okay, I remember one name. I think Missy was the one that got kidnapped. And basically, it's either Missy or Brenda. It was one of those. Second in command guy, but he looks Hispanic. He was like the second in command basically of the movie. He ends up getting killed. They go back for Brenda. She's getting fucked up by Papa Jupiter, and Brenda, blonde girl. I'm just gonna say blonde girl, blonde chick, and beard dude he's like the secondary main character. They try to take down. I'll admit it was kind of funny when they were getting thrown around. That part was kind of funny, but it just didn't. So they end up getting Papa Jupiter. He gets like shot in the back of the head, and yeah, he ends up falling. And then Missy, instead of leaving in a fit of rage, which it's understandable within the movie, because he raped her a bunch of times. Like he wants to kick him, and he grabs her. Then the others get like an axe. It's either an axe or a sledgehammer. No, Missy gets the sledgehammer. Missy gets the sledgehammer, and she smashes his nuts, which, okay. Then they get out of the cave. I'm sorry if this feels rushed. I was not into it, man. I'm going to talk about the cuts for a little bit. The fucking cuts were obnoxious. It wasn't as bad as Taken, but why is there jump cuts in a horror movie at all? Like, I can maybe be okay with it sometimes in an action movie, but not in a horror movie. It makes no sense. You take the scary out of it if you're just doing a million cuts. Like, it doesn't work. So they managed to get out of the cave, and you see like a mutant head at the watching them. Basically, it's clear like it was supposed to set up a third film that never happened. Probably because I don't think this one did well. It probably didn't do well in the theater enough to even get a sequel. Thank God, because I don't know what they were thinking with this movie. It didn't have what made the first remake great. The first remake had decent enough characters. They weren't amazing, but they were decent enough. And I just feel like this movie didn't have that. Like if I'm being honest, this one didn't. Like the characters are just there for me. They're just bodies to get killed, and then you have one or two, I guess three in this case, that are there to survive. That's it. So I definitely don't recommend this one. This one's just bad all around. It was awful. Like, even it's fucking boring. Like, the biggest crime is you can be fucking boring. You know, like, of all anything, above all else, you can, if you're fucking boring, it just doesn't help. Even like some of the kills are kind of boring. There are some okay ones between there, but like really like one or two I thought were fine, but the rest were just all right. I don't know. You maybe if it was in not the military and it was a group of regulars like teenagers or whatever or another family, like that could maybe work. I mean, maybe the movie wouldn't be as bad. Granted, I still feel like it would have been too edgy because it was trying like it was almost just doing shit just to be shocking, which that's fine, but you gotta have it make sense because the first remake did that, but this one does it in a way where it just doesn't make sense. Like the Jupiters, I felt like we're a joke. Like at least in the original, or I keep saying the original, the first one, the first remake. I felt like each Jupiter kind of had their own character. In this one, they're just indistinguishable. I think the only one you know is Papa because he's a big one. That's the only exception. He's the big motherfucker. So the rest, they're not. They're just kind of all look the same, and they're all like over the top crazy. And it's not. It's almost hammy, but it's like this is supposed to be a serious movie, and it takes me out of it because at least the first remake it was crazy. That was still done right. And this it just is not. But if I were to give this out of 10, like 4, 3 out of 10, 3 out of 10. So let me give it a 3. There's really like only like 1 or 2 positives I have. The music wasn't there. It's kind of generic too. Like at least have a good score. Like even there's bad horror movies out there I don't like, but at least the score I can say is a positive because I think the score is a big part of horror in general. And I just feel like when you don't even have that. This is just jump cuts galore. The Jupiters are a joke. The characters are a joke. It's just such a waste of time. This is one of those movies I'm like, why was this made? This is a waste of film. You wasted all of this. This is a waste of footage. Yeah. Anyway, this movie is a pile of shit. And I think that's actually, I'll change my title. I was going to say edgy for edgy's sake, but no. I'm just going to say a pile of shit. I'm just going to call this, that's what this movie is. But anyway, later tonight, maybe I will do the Mel Gibson video at least. It depends on if I'm going to see Evil Dead or not. But I do want to try. I'm definitely going to review it this weekend. I just got to figure out when I'm seeing it. So, but other than that, I'm going to take one more hit and peace out. And hopefully I'll never watch I'm definitely never watching this one again. It's sad because I think Hills Have Eyes has a good there's a good premise there and a good concept. And that's what I feel like the first remake really got right over the original. It's like they took that concept and you could have made a good sequel. Because part 2, the original sequel to the original, was alright, but it's like, I look at it as kind of hokey 80s slasher. I don't look at it like a serious horror movie. And I think they could have did that here, but they just, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. So, but, as usual, talk to you maybe later tonight, but definitely tomorrow, if not tonight. But, thanks for the subs, guys. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.